The battle for the future of the People's National Party has already begun. Damion Crawford is seeking to replace Mark Golding as party president and leader of the opposition. But while many are focused on Mark Golding, I believe the real focus should be on one man, Peter Murcott Bunting. He is the man to watch. Keep your eyes on that man. Not only is he a master strategist in the rice camp, he is also a master manipulator, first rate. And I believe Peter Bunting will be the man with the greatest influence over Crawford's chances. And in this video, I'll explain why I think Bunting could try to block Crawford's leadership bid and what that could mean for the future of the People's National Party. Also, in today's video, I'm going to examine one of the most intriguing questions facing the People's National Party. Can a Damion Crawford actually defeat Mark Golding for the leadership? We're going to look at whether popularity alone can overcome the financial and organizational advantages of an incumbent. We'll examine the puzzling question of why the party's power brokers gave Damion Crawford a parliamentary seat despite knowing he has intention to challenge for the leadership, presenting a grave risk to their own power and influence over the party, or so it appears. We'll also explore who could be possibly be backing Damion Crawford's bid, why some influential figures in the PNP may want Mark Golding replaced, how long it could take Peter Bunting to identify those who are supporting Crawford. Because remember, he is the man to watch. Yes. What strategies both camps are likely to adopt, and whether Peter Bunting holds information that could affect Crawford's campaign. And that, my friend, is the $1 million question and the key to whether or not Crawford succeeds in 2027. Before we get into our analysis, let us establish certain known facts. Fact 1, Mark Golding has served as president of the People's National Party since November 7 of 2020, and sometime thereafter that, he became the leader of the opposition. Damion Crawford has repeatedly expressed his desire to become president of the PNP and ultimately, one day, Prime Minister of Jamaica. His leadership ambitions are well known within the party and in Jamaica, and he has reaffirmed them on several occasions, including recently. The man no making no bones about it at all. He wants to lead the PNP and he wants to be Prime Minister of Jamaica. No secret about that. Another key figure in this story, however, is a man called Peter Murcott Bunting, and I cannot emphasize it more. In my view, Bunting is one of the PNP's most skilled political strategists, and his influence within the party these days extends far beyond him just being a member of parliament. His political judgment is faulty, yes, but his political judgment and organizational abilities have earned him a reputation as someone who understands how internal PNP politics and PNP contests are won and lost. Remember, he entered the contest in 2019 against Dr. Peter Phillips and lost. And a year later, he won the PNP presidency for Mark Golding. They had known their strength and their weaknesses, and then they came back again, having improved. So that was the reason for the challenge in 2019, aside from the fact that he really believed he could have won. I said that his political judgment is poor, and that is my opinion, because had I been him, knowing that there was always a possibility that he could lose and it would have been a career ender for him, I would have put up Mark Golding instead to run in 2019 and try and get him elected. Of course, it was going to fail, but I would now know what my weaknesses and my strengths are and improve on it to go back again in 2020 and then put myself up. And then now, and me now would be leading the PNP. But no, I think he got it wrong. But then again, it's for him plan and him do him thing how him think best. And of course, maybe he has other plans, who knows, to get himself elected Prime Minister of Jamaica. So Bunting is key in all of this. There is the issue of popularity. There are many persons who are looking for a leader that can win the general elections, and that is the correct way to look at it. Those are the facts. And now let us examine what they could mean for the leadership battle that may determine the future of the People's National Party. So now it comes now to my analysis of what all of what I just said mean. Now that we've established the background, let's examine what I believe is really happening inside the People's National Party, in as much as I'm able to gather from the little questions I may ask here and there. To understand the current leadership battle, we must first understand the relationship between Peter Bunting and Mark Golding. Their political partnership did not begin yesterday. In fact, they have been business partners for many, many years. It was only later on in 2007 that they became political allies in terms of them joining the People's National Party. And together, it was they who established the Rise United movement and made it a party within a party that has become one of the most influential forces within the PNP. Why was the Rise United movement established? It was a movement that was set up to launch Peter Bunting's bid to be president of the People's National Party. It had begun as a campaign slogan, and then after the campaign was over, it was morphed into a political movement within the People's National Party, a party within a party. In my view, their political objectives have been closely aligned. Peter Bunting has long been associated with leadership ambitions within the party and without. Mark Golding was brought in to be his lieutenant, his eyes behind his back, his strong supporter, and a man he could trust to help him to bring about his ambition. Mark Golding, meanwhile, emerged as a successful Rise United candidate for the party presidency after the movement's unsuccessful attempt to elect Peter Bunting in 2019 as PNP president. Since then, Rise United has consolidated its position within the party and has remained the dominant internal organization. In terms of the leadership, we don't believe they have the support on the ground. But if there is a contest in 2027, we shall all surely find out. Now, I believe that this history helps to explain why Peter Bunting continues to support Mark Golding and why Peter Bunting will always continue to support Mark Golding. Then consider the investment, both political and financial investments that has gone into building and maintaining Rise United's influence. After years of organizing, campaigning, and securing control of the PNP's party machinery, it would be surprising if that influence were surrendered without a determined effort to preserve it. And so when I said that Damion Crawford had better ensure that whoever it is that is behind him is as strategic, tactical, and as ruthless as these risers are. You see what I'm talking about? Them not going to give it up so easy. That's what Mark Golding had said about the labor rights. He could easily have said it about himself. Him now give it up so easily. They have spent too much money, time, and effort to turn back now. So that raises an important question. If Mark Golding were no longer viewed as the party's strongest electoral option to win general elections, would Peter Bunting simply support Damion Crawford? I think the answer is probably no. If circumstances required a change in leadership, I believe Peter Bunting would first look within Rise United itself for a successor, someone capable of preserving the movement's influence within the PNP while maintaining continuity. Whether that person would be Dr. Dayton Campbell or Peter Bunting himself or another senior figure is impossible to know with certainty. Nobody knows what's going on in that man's head, but wherever the canvas leads, chances are that is where he would follow. But based on the movement's history, I believe a Rise United candidate would be the preferred choice. So the PNP, if they're going to go with their most popular man, had better make sure them get it right. Damion Crawford cannot afford a weasel and a weak fence like Philip Powell behind him. He needs a ruthless, strategic, and tactical player behind him. A win at all cost man. Because if it is going to be a fight, it is going to be a dog fight. And he has to be prepared to go for it if he is to survive politically. His own political ambitions depend on it. He either is prepared to go into a dogfight or don't go into it at all. To understand why would the risers tend to want to go for another rise candidate to lead the PNP? We need to look at the two major power centers that appear to exist within today's PNP. On the one side, you have the Rise United movement, whose members have generally rallied behind Mark Golding and the movement's leadership. They are risers. They are like a cult, right? If you're not a riser, they're not going to support you, and that's their mentality. So they are at least united, no matter what differences they have with the leadership, they're going to vote for the Rise candidate above the PNP candidate. On the other side, you have the grouping often associated with the legacy of Portia Simpson Miller, Dr. Peter Phillips, and that also galvanized support for Lisa Hanna. And we call this group Authentic PNP, and they call the group One PNP. While individuals within that grouping may not all share identical views, Damion Crawford's support exists outside of the Rise United movement among the authentic PNP if we're looking at it from an historic point of view. History also offers an important lesson. In the 2020 leadership race, Lisa Hanna entered the contest as one of the party's best known and most popular figure. Mark Golding, by contrast, was much less prominent internally and nationally. Yet, at the end of the day, it was Mark Golding who won convincingly among delegates. He won by 396 votes. The risers during the interim of their 2019 loss had formed up 400 groups with 600 delegates, and some of the groups were found to be fake, at least 33 of them. And though there was supposed to have been an audit of the remainder, none was ever carried out, and you can imagine why. So, the outcome of the 2020 internal elections suggests that internal leadership contests are often decided less by public popularity than by organization, delegate support, fundraising, messaging, and coalition building within the party itself, and not to mention a little shenanigans, a little vote buying, and a little setting up of groups, some of which are fake, that will help the cause as well. And that, my friends, was how the risers reach where they are today. But the PNP has since changed the way in which they are going to be selecting their leaders. They will no longer be using the delegate system, they'll be using the broad party membership. And so everybody will get a chance to vote for who it is that they believe is best to lead them. And so selecting someone because you believe that they are popular and think that somehow that will guarantee that they will be leader of the People's National Party is no guarantee at all. And that is why I believe Damion Crawford's greatest challenge may not be winning the hearts of ordinary PNP supporters. He already has it. His greatest challenge, therefore, may be assembling an organization capable of matching the political machine that has been built over several years. And that I'm talking about is the Rise United machine, not to mention internal party machine that is going to more or less rally around the incumbent leader. That is what he's up against. So popularity can generate enthusiasm for sure, but organization wins elections every time. So, whatever the issue that Peter Bunting may have with Mark Golding and the way he's running the PNP, whatever it is that he thinks is going to happen in the next election, ultimately, I believe Peter Bunting's strongest incentive is to preserve the influence that the Rise United movement has built within the People's National Party. That will be his aim. It is the influence that counts. And whether that influence is exercised through Mark Golding or another Rise United leader is, in my opinion, a secondary question in Bunting's mind. And that is because of the primary objective. The primary objective of Rise United movement is to maintain its influence over the leadership of the People's National Party. And after that, prepare the party to win general elections. So, holding on to that power is what is key. When you have a leadership contest that is threatening, it meant that there is a risk to these risers that they may lose their power. And so when I spoke about Bunting blocking Damion Crawford from becoming leader of the People's National Party, I am talking about him attempting to at least prevent a challenge from occurring next year. And so for that, he needs to find out who is behind Damion and what he can do to influence them in order to ensure that there is no leadership race next year. He has to block it. And if he can't, then he's forced into an election and he's going to stop at nothing to ensure that they win. And when I said nothing, I mean nothing. These people are ruthless in how they go about their business. And furthermore, they have had practice. Mhm. This brings us to the most intriguing question of them all. If Damion Crawford is building a coalition to challenge Mark Golding, who is helping him? And how will Peter Bunting respond when he identifies the people behind that effort? Those are the $1 million questions. Now, let us consider an alternative because, we don't know what will happen in the future and, people have options. So let's consider now. Could Peter Bunting possibly ultimately decide to support Damion Crawford? Is that in the cards? Yes, it's possible. But only if Bunting concludes that Crawford offers the PNP its best chance of winning the next election, and if the two men can reach an understanding that advances their respective political objectives. Politics, after all, is the art of compromise. However, I believe that outcome is unlikely, and my conclusion is based largely on ideology. Again, it's no secret. Damion Crawford has consistently presented himself as one of the PNP's strongest advocates of democratic socialism. The party's stated ideology, it is in the party's constitution as a condition to be a member of the PNP that you must subscribe to democratic socialism, its policies and its programs. Peter Bunting, on the other hand, publicly stated in an interview with Cliff Hughes in 2019 on Nationwide News Network that he does not subscribe to democratic socialism when he responded with absolutely not, absolutely not. And the question was asked whether or not he embraced the ideology, as Dr. Peter Phillips had said at the conference. Mark Goling has also expressed the view that the PNP should move away from democratic socialism if it wants to broaden its fundraising base. Those public statements suggest a significant philosophical difference between Crawford on the one side and Bunting and Golding on the other. Bunting and Golding, we all know, are capitalists. They are not socialists. So if that ideological divide translates into fundamentally different economic and political priorities, it may not. But then if it does, then it could make a long-term political partnership between them considerably more difficult. In my view, the issue is not simply personalities. It may be, but I don't think it is. I think it is whether they share the same vision for the future of the PNP and ultimately Jamaica. That is the deal breaker. So, that said, politics has a way of surprising even its closest observers. Internal party dynamics can change rapidly. Alliances are rarely permanent, and circumstances can alter political calculations almost overnight. What appears improbable today may become politically expedient tomorrow. So when it comes to Peter Bunting and Damion Crawford coming to an understanding, and Bunting decide to put him up if he believes that getting into Jamaica House is the priority, while they maintain control over the party machinery, the risers that is. If that is more important to Bunting, then that is what he will do. And in the process, prevent a leadership race that could be damaging to the party's effort in winning the election the following year and years after. So it is something to consider. Whether it will happen, nobody knows. We now look now at a new question. And it is a question I know you're asking from the start talk. And you have that question probably from the time you hear say Damion Crawford want to challenge. And that big question is, can Damion Crawford win? And the short answer is yes. Damion Crawford can win the leadership of the People's National Party. But popularity alone is not going to do it for him. To defeat an incumbent supported by an established political organization, Crawford would need three things: a compelling messaging, forward with Crawford, that could work, substantial financial resources, beyond doubt, he need the money, and a disciplined campaign machinery capable of mobilizing thousands of members. That now is a challenge. He is going to have to get into his corner influential members of the People's National Party in every region, in every constituency, and in every division, and backed up by a ruthless desire to make sure that he win at all costs. So it have to be done. None of those elements can be missing. Is he likely to win? That is a far more difficult question to answer. In my assessment, much depends on Peter Bunting. I do not believe Peter Bunting has abandoned his own long term political ambitions to one day be Prime Minister of Jamaica. Nor do I believe the Rise leadership is prepared to surrender the political influence it has spent years building up and money. Bunting has demonstrated that he is strategic, organized, ruthless, and highly motivated. Unless Damion Crawford has someone equally strategic, organized, ruthless, and motivated helping to direct his campaign, I believe he faces an uphill battle. I said it before, I say it again, and I am saying it now again, because this is the key to whether Damion is going to unseat Mark Golding or not. This is where popularity collides with organization. Popularity is very important, but what is going to get you across the line is organization. Lisa Hanna's 2020 leadership campaign illustrates the point. She entered that contest as one of the PNP's most popular public figures, yet she lost to a far better organized political operation. A little crooked too, but she lost. Popularity creates enthusiasm, organization wins internal elections, and we cannot get away from that. But none of this risk to the Rise United's control of the PNP would have been possible had they not decided to give Damion Crawford a seat, and a safe seat at that, that now lead him into the parliament where he can now talk about saying he want to challenge for the leadership. The question is though, why did they do it? The short answer is that the party at the time, after the 2020 general election, it was deeply fractured. There are party members and supporters who blamed Rise United and Peter Bunting for the PNP losing the 2020 election. And so there was this fracture that they had to mend. The objective was to hold on to the People's National Party, and that they will never be able to do unless they win the elections. So it became very important for them to bring those disaffected comrades back on board. They needed a strategy. And I'm of the opinion that giving Damion Crawford a safe seat was part of that strategy to bring the comrades back on board. And it worked. But that immediately raises another question. Why would they empower someone they knew intended to challenge for the leadership? And my view is that they believe that Damion Crawford was a manageable risk. And if they believe that, it is for a reason. Then there's Lisa Hanna, who presented a different problem entirely. Remember, she had already demonstrated that she had electoral strength within the party because she came within 396 votes of defeating Mark Golding in the 2020 leadership race. And so she presented a more immediate political threat to the Rise leadership. And it was therefore necessary to push her out, to do whatever is necessary to antagonize her to the point where she just wants to leave. And that's what happened. So they got rid of one threat. Why then did they not see Damon Crawford as a threat? That perhaps is because he carried a political vulnerability. It is a matter of public record that a recording exists of Damon Crawford making disparaging remark about Lisa Hanna. I intend to play a bit of it for you to remind you of what it was that he said and what it is that these risers may well be playing at. My analysis is that this recording and any other politically damaging information they may have gave the Rise leadership greater confidence that Crawford could be contained if he eventually mounted a leadership challenge. If your objective is to hold on to power in the PNP, you do not promote and put a man in a position that could threaten that power unless you know how to contain it, destroy it, or block it. You see my point? Yes. But the one question that puzzles me no end, me no mind telling you folks, is why would some members of the PNP want Mark Golding replaced at this time? The way how they were carrying on the political platform, right? Him is going to be the next prime minister, and him a carry on, and them support him, put him back as leader of the opposition. What it is that is motivating them now? Is it that they believe that they can win with him? Is it that they said you got your chance and you lost? Or is it revenge because of what they did? And what they did ensured that Dr. Peter Phillips was the first opposition leader of the two major political parties never to become prime minister. And there could be some Peter Phillips people who are not happy about that. And they will make sure that Mark Golding is the second one. But whatever it is, whether it is about his electability, whether he can beat Andrew Holness or not, or revenge, or very possibly the amount of baggage that Mark Golding has as opposition leader. I don't think I've ever heard any such thing in all my born days. He had enough baggage to carry with him. It could be that the comrades are very annoyed and very upset about the way he's handling the party, particularly how he's allowing his rise colleagues to behave in the parliament. That is very embarrassing to the party and could cost them votes. So that could be part of the reason too. I fully expect that it is the authentic PNP comrades that want him gone, not the risers, because the risers behave similarly to the way in which the PNP behave. No matter what issues them have with the person, once you're a riser, they're going to support you. So the names that me say, Cliff Hughes them a call up, the desire to have Mark Golding replaced. Newell, I hear them a call Jess. Now, Jess is a person on two occasions that jump into the race at the very last minute. She is going to wait until the last week to see which way the wind is blowing, and then she jump and decide who for ticket she's going to be on, because it appears that she likes to be on the winning ticket. So when they call up Jess name and said Jess want Mark Golding replaced, I don't countenance that. I do not countenance Omar Newell because he's a riser from start to finish. And I do not countenance the young lady out by Hanover called Heather Miller because she was there supporting big Mark Golding during the election. And I don't see no reason why she should be going against him now when he was the one that helped her to get the seat as a big riser. Now, I do understand and believe that it is possible that Natalie Nita Garvey is on the fence. I would expect anybody who was on the Lisa's team to be very reluctant to support Damion Crawford because he failed to support Lisa Hanna when they needed him. So he is going to have a little difficulty there. And then again, we don't know just how much recordings that Peter Bunting have on Damion Crawford saying things about people. We already know that he had disparaging remarks to make about the people in East Rural St. Andrew, call him plyboard comrades, him call the laborites him all kind of names, and him just loose mouth. So he has his task cut out for him. In terms of the strategy that they will employ, I fully expect the risers to come out and say that the challenge is not desirable at this time. We won back 14 seats and we were within 4 seats of winning the general election. And you hear Mark Golding with it. Some 1,000 something votes separated the PNP from the JLP and separated them from becoming government. That is the argument they're going to be presenting. They will also be saying that having an election at this time is going to destroy the unity that they work so hard to maintain. And that will be their argument. The next thing they're going to say is that Mark Golding is the best person to forge that unity, and your PNP cannot win without it being united. And I'm going to say that Damion Crawford is unable to do so. I'm going to talk about the things where him say about the comrades them and other people, and so on. I also expect them to say that the private sector supports Mark Golding, and that's why they had so much money to run the election, and that if they put Damion Crawford there, the private sector will not support him. I expect them to say that too. And that will be the negative side and whatever else they may know about him. On Damien's side now, he is going to go with the idea that he is the most popular comrade that there is. And as such, he is the one most capable of uniting the party. That he has won the most in East Portland, and anywhere him go, people love him. And anytime he walk into a room, they just make whole heap of nice and then love him. And he stands the best chance of beating Andrew Holness. That would be his argument. He is going to have to knock the Rice camp. He cannot go into the election foolishly like Lisa Hanna talking about, for party unity. She's not going to do this and not going to do that. And they agree, and then them had them bloggers out there slaughtering her. Damion Crawford and his team going to have to go at the risers and make everybody know that them cause we lose the election, right? And all the things where they know so them do. They have to come with a negative attack. They have to come with a negative attack to turn off some of them voters. That is how the thing work. And if they're not prepared to do that, massa, don't go in at the race, because if you're going in and lose, your political career will be over. And you have two examples of such a thing. Maybe three. So that is my analysis of what is going on in the PNP, what may go on in 2027, and what it is that Damion Crawford needs to do to win the challenge, if and when he decide to challenge in 2027. I'm going to now let you listen to this recording, because this recording is essential to where it is that Damion Crawford may find himself if the risers decide to play it. And I have no doubt in my mind that they are going to play it over and over again to upset those people who still support Lisa Hanna and Lisa Hanna alone, and turn them off from voting for Damion, in the hope that that will now make them win, because for them risers, solid as a rock. You get me? Yes. So listen careful to the things that he said. Tell me what you think about it, and whether or not you think that this would still be damaging after so many years. This conversation was recorded sometime during the internal election campaigning for leadership of the People's National Party in 2020.
Honey, you're the little mysterious boy.
Damion, why you putting me in this bind?
because my sister the party look like it I gonna get left behind, so I have to try this.
But Damion, Jesus Christ, you put me in a bed now. Because it's coming like I have to make one big move.
Mark can't beat Lisa based on where the opinion of the country is and the party. Them think they want a young person who have some popularity.
And you're ready.
We're not ready. We're not ready because of 5-year time I may have something to improve. But my maximum 50 times further than Lisa maximum.
So what you thinking of? So you have to tell me, because I'm on the ground for Mark already.
All right. Well, let me just look on what the party means. 140,000 PNP never come up. So the party needs somebody who will inspire PNP people. Every time I run, I get the most PNP ever get. East Rural, the most PNP ever get. Portland, the most PNP ever get. Nobody got the same after, nobody got the same before. Mm-hmm. So there's no question if me inspire PNP people. Me run against the whole GLP. Them a fix road while we are run. Them a do all kind of things. Them a give a farmer car, everything. And me get more, 3,000 more. Everybody else run 1 year after with the same Peter Phillips and get 3,000 less.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Some people are going to say, oh, it was a by-election. We never get the same in a St. Mary. We got 1,000 less when we run a by-election in a St. Mary. We never get the same in a Yala. Nowhere else.
True.
2, we need somebody who can walk 5 hours a day. Stand up in the town. Shake people's hands. Come up with a message and a vision people can bind to. Now, I'm a thinker. Some of them not work, some of them not catch, but the man who make the plane, I'm sure they crash 100 times. But he must have a man who think about how to make a plane.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I am the most committed to the ideology of the party. The most. And when people say Lisa popular, she has never gotten the cheer when we come on PNP meeting. She has never gotten the adoration when we get when we are the regular people. Never. Lisa not get the cheer where Dayton Campbell get when he reach our PNP.
Mm-hmm.
So how that popularity in a transition to anything else? I mean, Mark is the most ready for the next 2 years. But the election is not the next 2 years. And we can't change again.
Yeah.
That's the unfortunate reality we have faced. Nobody can come 2 years time come say, oh, we're ready now. So I say, no, but I never go from them long time there. The negatives that them have against me are the easiest to fix. Damion chat too much. All right, never chat late. Get a PR consultant and make them manage when we talk.
I can't stand for them.
But that's simple matter, no.
I tell you, this split there, man. This split there.
Damion is a loose cannon write a speech. But when me talk, I might speech and PMP are circulate. All them are talk about loose cannon Ray. Even when I am not being pushed to the forefront. Through the whole COVID, I was not a spokesperson, and I might feel them a mash up to me.
True.
I have never been positioned by the PMP. Always the people in my fair ball to me, and I say, want to Damion. So if you have an athlete who are trained every day, at least have 100 camera behind her, me walk without no camera, anything when we get our people take. And she are trained every day and she barely edge me out. Then when we start to train, what happens?
One of the things though, Damion, I'm kind of concerned at the place that the parties now, we're almost flat out. And with the local coming and all of these things, we're almost anticipating another beating between the race.
I get it.
Are you prepared physically, mentally now to be drawn through these things? When them say, boy, you come and then you still can't win and you have to go because of the same recurring decimal we're going to face again, you know.
Yeah, but let me say this. One, anybody will go have a lose local government. It's just where we are. You understand? When we gave them 14 love, is when we give them 40-11.
Yes.
Right? So, you have to go and you have to say to yourself, all right, I thought that you should just make Philip the next Tuesday, but people never agree. You have to go out there and you defend too. You say, all right, Westmoreland people might be angry enough, and we'll go over St. Catherine and see if Portmore can come through. So you go and you defend. People go, for the next 3 years, any leader going to take clean custody, you know.
Yes, that's true.
In fact, I'm not sure if I elect Jesus, I could have John the Baptist elect right now, you know. Because by the time you done come through the fire, you don't see no promised land. But we cannot believe at the party. May I tell you the truth?
Have you
My
started
first thing was to wait 2 years and then...
Have you started with Mark to see if we can work
No, me and Mark are going to meet. But you see, sometimes, all right, you have a race at times, so them call them medley relay. One man run a 400, one man run 200, and then the next man run a 800. You see, if you put the 400 man to run the 800, they definitely not going to make it enough. Mark is a very good 400-meter runner. Very capable, etc. But the people are of the opinion, so we need a Andrew. That is his only negative. Come here 40 now, you know. Me don't allow Mark at 48 and still ready. But Mark, nah, I'm going to beat Lisa based on what the opinions are. The people's opinion is that we need somebody who can go up against Holness. That's their opinion.
And the internal numbers don't show that him can beat Lisa. The delegate numbers, because the popular opinion is the national. The delegate numbers.
Lisa run delegate already when you're out of her guy, you know. I'm not if she coming up. Probably shot him.
No, that's
you understand?
So that means Mark should be able to beat Lisa.
The problem is that all I want PMP, I say, yo, we're not going with Mark. You understand? Because of that animosity in their mind. So, Mark unfortunately inherits Bunting enemy. You understand? So, when you look for now, Nikhil is not a Lisa fan. Well, Nikhil I say, yo, we're not going Mark. You understand what I mean? So, what are that with these two people is that the two sort of people them choose who them now go with, you know. Nobody not choose who them go with, you know. It's who them now go with. But Lisa not more popular than me in the country. God alone can tell me that. Come and see it every day and walk with her. The people don't think they can beat. So they go to them and say to them, I'm not going to talk about it because, you see, that's why I mash up the party. We can leak out the part I pull to satisfy me too. They ask the people, who do you think is the number one contender for leadership? That's not a reasonable question. It's who you want. Who you want to be the leader, not who is the number one contender. If she take the whole election and market herself and promote herself. And make her picture bigger than everybody's picture.
Yes, and keep ourselves in the media every day.
And keep herself in the media every day. And cut out the part them where she talk and circulate it.
Yeah, man.
But when them say who have a PMP need, she was 15 and I was 13.
Okay, that's why I tell you, so sometimes the reports are very tailored.
Because of them organize it with them little strategy. And the part that will come out soon. Because I'm going to put it out, but we never think it right to leak out a few people.
Yeah, because that's not your culture. It's only them all of a sudden everything leak.
I don't mind think that. We take a look at snapshot and say to two of my friends them and say, yo, we in it. But we never think to call media and say, yo, Crawford is what PMP needs. We never think that was right.
Yeah.
But the world changed from me and what is wrong is now right. That's what happened in the world. So,
boy, Damion, you send me back, you send me in bed, you send me to think,
Mark can't be Lisa. If it comes down to it, you know, me that go to Mark and Lisa. Because I am seeing Lisa. At least me and Mark agree on 3 things out of 10. That's why I not go with Bunting. Because me and Bunting agree on 0 things out of 100. But me and Mark agree on more things than me and Bunting. But the people now go to our next Peter Phillips. They're not going to try the style. That's the benefit of me have. You see, if I did Porsche lose, they would have want a Mark.
yeah.
But if you choose a Peter lose, they want a Porsche.
Yeah.
That's how people see it. You understand? I can put the big tall boy to go run. He lose. Give me a short one, yeah?
Yeah. Do what you do, Damion, and whatever you're doing, do it early because people
No,
are
I
going
want
to
to come out
the table.
Thursday, no, but you know, want to come out without finding a route to victory. It's the same thing. I never thought it was right to be calling people just when we lose. As some man figure out how they going to survive, where they going to get an income. Come if a call doing bars, they never expect to lose and say, yeah, come with me. When the man try to figure out how his mortgage has kind of done putting pot on the fire with him empty salary. I never thought it was right. But some people start call from the 6th of September. And then go meet up with PJ them and say, make the election be quick because them have advantage of long time campaigning.
Yeah.
You understand? That's why sometimes
it's rough.
it's very tough. So PJ them are collude with them, you know.
Yeah, man.
See? And just come on and tell we foolishness. But listen, being willing to lose, you know, but they're not willing to give her the party. You know, she win it, you know. So I'm they should not be able to say, if we do run, them would have give it. But I mean, make it mash up. And them have to make it mash up. Lisa can't keep her friend, you know.
Yeah.
She ran a counselor against PR counselors.
Boy, we're in a bind because as I said to Pat, Damion coming to the race now, it's going to split the vote, and already I know where the Damion loyalists are, and it's going to be a rough one. Would I rather see Mark team up and come up with a plan as how to take the party through these stages. But if you're going, it is going to be serious consideration after go make.
Here's the problem with the team. I would have to go put my career again, like I'm going to put it on the line to fill it. Just go out there, go out there to Mark and fight him like a me run. I'm going to fight him like a me run. Why not run? But that's all I have. That's what I have. I don't have money to give or nothing. I only have my name and whatever that name brings with it.
Well, as I said to Pat, I say if Damion goes with a Mark and then build out the strategy, build back the party. Mark know that right after him have to make the way for Damion.
But me and Mark can go together to the country because like how them say me not stable. Then Mark is the leader of the opposition till the game is ability.
So that's why I want you and Mark to have a one-on-one. No, me, you and Mark and nobody else. Just go.
No man, me and him are gonna meet, man.
Yeah, man. Just go
You
sit
understand?
in with Mark because I said to Pat, Damion is going to be the upsetter in the race. I have watched every campaign with Damion, and no matter where Damion come from, back Miglar side, he's the upsetter.
No matter where it starts.
Yes, and at the end of the day,
Why?
we want the best now for PMP because we are really at rock bottom. We're not there, no way. In the heart and the minds of people because they're getting turned off. So we're at rock bottom. So we really need the best. We need the best shot at this now.
Connie,
Yes, Pat.
guess who called me? Guess who called me?
Oliver.
Angela Broadberg.
Oh.
It's all right, man. That's it. When we finish that, we talk to the caller.
Listen,
When we finish that, we talk to the caller.
I cannot claim that I'm the best pot right now. But it don't compare clay to pot. Because clay can make 100 pot. A pot is a pot. The maximum that they can reach don't compare to the maximum when they can reach. The only thing is if I'm willing to subject myself to what is necessary. And me used to say, the fakeness and the discourse is shoes win an election.
Clap.
I observe that. I'm going to run against the lady with never 2 cents of this. And no matter what you tell the people, I just excitement and rum them a deal. I see. So I have to either decide to me not in this or me in it.
Yeah.
Me can't offer only when me want offer if me in it.
No, because the people them nowadays, their mindset different. They don't want nothing.
Their minds are different.
Yeah, man.
So,
they have been tricked.
As I say to people, I've always given away money when I campaign to other people because they shouldn't bear the negatives of my actions. When I campaign for myself, I make my own decision because I lose. If I campaign for a party, I have to now start to say what is the best. But it's 4 times, not just when we believe and when we think.
Yeah.
So, folks, that's it for me today. You heard that recording, and I know it will factor in next year's challenge if there's a challenge. And there may well be more. We don't know. But let me know what you think, if this would make any difference after so many years, what you think about what he was saying. Of course, he was, bigging up himself, and nothing wrong with that. It's all right for him to pick up himself. And at the same time, he was diminishing others. And I suppose that's all right too. And I gave Damion a whole heap of advice. I'd love to hear what advice you have for Damion. If you have any, let me know. Put in the comment section. And tell me what you think the outcome may be next year if Damion Crawford or somebody else challenge Mark. And that, of course, is my final word. So may I ask everyone please to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, and share. Until next time, take very good care of yourselves and walk good.